Hello, dear students. We have been doing this poem. We have completed 22 lines, the beginning lines of this poem, Ulysses, which is written by Alfred Tennyson. We have discussed something about the life and works of Tennyson as well as about the poem also in our last discussion or in video. We have come to know that this poem is a dramatic monologue in which the character is or the speaker is Ulysses. Ulysses is the king of Ithaca and he had just returned from a long journey after a long adventures. All the life he has been on journeys and travelings, knowing many more from the other peoples, other cultures, other states, other lives. Now he has returned to his home and living at home, resting at home is disappointing him, is making him nervous. He is not happy living at his home, taking rest is home. Therefore, he again decides to go for the traveling and journey. He thinks that living at home with his old wife, with the uncivilized people, because he calls the people of Ithaca uncivilized. They are not good mannered according to him. So he says that he cannot live with those people and with that aged wife. But he thinks that he has much energies, much power, still he has so many things to discover, to know about them. Therefore, he wants to go for the new journey. He wants to learn the new world. Now, from these lines, we will see. Let's first speak or recite these lines. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, and though to breathe were life, life piled on life, were all too little, and of one to me, little remains, but every hour is saved. But every hour is saved. In fact, I am not getting the last line of these lines. And then, a bringer of new things, and while it were, for some 3 sons to store and hoard myself, and this grey spirit yearning in desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. So these are the lines of this poem, and the speaker is Ulysses himself, and we are not supposed to know who is the listener, but the readers are the listener. So it is in a dramatic form. So Ulysses says that how dull it is to pause, to make an end. That is, it is very dull to stop the journeys, the travelings, to make an end of those journeys, to make an end of those ventures, adventures, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use. So here he compares, just like a sword a kind of weapon for the battle, if that is not used, it will get rusted. If it is not burnished, if it is not shined, if it is not used, it will get to rust. In the same way, if we don't shine our life, we don't burnish our life, our job, our work, we will also be rusted. We will also be like the dust. जंग लग जाएगी. He wants to say that अगर हम लाइफ में एक ही जगह रहेंगे, घर पे रहेंगे, we won't move, we won't travel, तो हमारी लाइफ के जंग लग जाएगी, जैसा कि हम जनरली कहते हैं. इन द सेम वे, जैसे किसी तलवार को अगर आप यूज़ नहीं करेंगे, उसको रखी रखेंगे, तो उसके एक दिन जंग लग जाएगी. दैट इज एज द sword must be used and shined in the battle. Then only it can be burnished. Otherwise, it will also get rusted. As though to breathe were life. So, as though for others, what is life? Life is just only breathing. Life piled on life. So, life after life, life after life. And what is life? According to others, life is it only the breathing? Is the life only the breathing? So, here Ulysses means to say that life is not only the breathing, but it is something much more. Even life after life, many lives, will also be too little for him. And one that he is now having is definitely little, very little according to him, because he wants to learn much more, because he wants to search much more, because he wants to know much more. Therefore, he wants that every hour of this life should be saved to discover something new, to go far away, to search for adventures, for journeys, etc., in order to bring the new things. So the human being, human man, according to Ulysses, must be the bringer of new things. So this single life will be insufficient for him. And while it were for some 3 sons to store and hoard myself. So even then he says that it would be for some 3 sons, that is, to store and hoard myself, and this grey spirit yearning in desire. So it would be insufficient. It would be like this one life will be just like the 3 days to store and hoard himself. And this grey spirit, now he is also in old age. So the spirit is also grey. Now it is growing old. But it is still yearning in desire. It has the desire. And desire for what? Desire to follow knowledge, to go after the knowledge, like a sinking star, as we see the sinking star, beyond the utmost bound of human thought. So, which is beyond the human imagination or the thought. So, he wants to go after, he wants to run after, he wants to catch a sinking star. And that is impossible task. So here he is running after, he is going after, he wants to know about that unfathomed knowledge. That is the knowledge which has not been yet discovered. So he imagines himself following the knowledge like a sinking star. And the sinking star, nobody can catch that star. In the same way, that in the same way as it is beyond the human imagination. So this is what he has said in these lines. I just repeat with my explanation that Ulysses exclaims, "It is boring and unsatisfying to stay in one place, that is at home, and stop doing activities that define your life." So the life, what is life according to him? Life is an action. If there are no activities, then it's not a life. So he wants to live this life to the fullness. So he compares himself to a sword, as I told you. If the sword has not been used, it will go to the rust. In the same way, man does not use himself and live at one place, he will also get rust. So, merely being alive does not mean that you are truly living. So, our purpose of our life is not just breathing, it is something much more. Ulysses feels that multiple lifetimes would still have been too little for him to do all he wishes. So, even he says that the pile after life, piled after life, that is the multiple lifetimes, that would also be insufficient for him, for what he wanted to do, for what he wishes to do. So, this one life is definitely insufficient. He is almost at the end of this one lifetime he has. So he wants to save every hour of this life in order to search much more. Every hour that he has left to live before he dies has the potential to bring new opportunities for action. So he wants to use the last hour of his life as well. He says that it would be disgraceful if he feels to sit tight at home and just try to eat and stay alive for a few more years. Even as an old man, what is his greatest desire? It is still to explore the world and keep learning more. So he cannot live at home, though he is old, but he has still the keen desire, greatest desire to explore the world and keep his learning much more. He wants to go beyond the limits of what humans have seen and known. So he wants to go beyond the human imagination. We have never think about that. We have never thought about that. He wanted to go to that field, that area, that region. The way a shooting star seems to go beyond the horizon when it falls and disappears from sight. So it's a comparison with his aspirations. Now we have another lines from this poem, that are lines 34 to 44. What he says, in fact this poem contains, as I told you in our previous lecture, 70 lines, and we would be completing this poem within 3 video lectures. We can't complete it in a single day or in a single lecture. So this is our second lecture, and in the third we would be finishing this poem. So let's see these lines. This is my son, my own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and the isle, well loved of me, discerning to fulfill this labor by slow prudence to make mild a rugged people, and through soft degrees subdue them to the useful and the good. Most blameless is he, centered in the sphere of common duties, decent not to fail in offices of tenderness and pay. Meet adoration to my household gods. When I am gone, he works his work by mine. Dear students, in these lines, the speaker, Ulysses, is speaking about or describing about his son, whose name is Telemachus. We know that, and he knows very well, that Telemachus' son will inherit him, his role. He will be the king of Ithaca now after his departure. And he also knows that after his death, Telemachus will get the throne and will run the state. So he affirms, he confirms, he believes. He says that he loves his son very much. And his son is very conscious and very thoughtful, very intelligent about how he will best carry out his duties as a ruler. So he has a trust in his son that his son is very able person, capable, has the power and capacity to run the state after his departure. And he is very thoughtful as well. He knows how to follow the responsibilities, how to abide by the responsibilities and duties. Then Ulysses says, with patience and judgment, Telemachus will work to civilize the fierce, wild people of Ithaca. We know in previous lines, Ulysses speaks about the people of Ithaca, about people of his state, that they are uncivilized. Therefore, now he says that Telemachus, his son, will definitely educate them, will make them civilized, will make them more gentle, and because Telemachus is the intelligent one, a thoughtful person, and a good teacher as well. And he also says that gradually he will teach them to devote their lives to productive civic activities. Because the people of Ithaca, according to Ulysses, are just spending their life living, eating, breeding, and sleeping. They don't know the courtesies, they don't know the good manners. So he believes that his son will definitely teach them and will prepare them for the productive civic activities in the state. Ulysses cannot find any faults in Telemachus. He does not see any faults in Telemachus. He knows that Telemachus devotes his life to the responsibilities of his role. He knows very well that the responsibilities that he is going to leave there, his son will definitely abide by them and will follow them and will afford them and will complete them, do them. He pays. He says that his son will definitely pay the proper respect to his people and his parents as well as after he dies. He will continue offering appropriate sacrifices to the gods that Ulysses most honor. Ulysses also believes that after his death, his son Telemachus will honestly respect and regard his people, his parents, as well as the gods whom Ulysses used to honor very well. That is, the forefathers, the parents, the people of their family who died long ago and now they are worshipped like the gods. So the gods whom Ulysses used to follow and would respect them, would follow them, would give regard them, he understands that his son will do the same. He will afford this liability as well as. He is well suited for the role of ruler. He can rule, he can govern better. Just as Ulysses is well suited for a different role. So Ulysses thinks that now he is not fit for a good ruler. He is fit for the different role. And what is that role? That role is of the explorer, adventurer, inventor, discoverer. So Ulysses cannot sit at home, cannot govern that state, cannot govern the state or the people who are uncivilized, but he believes that his son will do all these duties. So it is better for him, according to his nature, that he will face the different role, he will um, adopt the different role that suited him, and that is the role of the explorer. In this way, dear students, we have seen this poem, the middle of this poem, and what we have seen right now, that is Ulysses wants to go, doesn't want to live at home, wants to search much more, and he is also talking about his son Telemachus. So thank you very much, friends. For now, this is what I have spoken to you, and we will meet with the remaining lines of this poem in our next video. Thank you very much again.